passes from Caitlin? No. She decided not to do that. In fact, she praised Aaliyah Boston. But she passed on the opportunity to say anything positive about Caitlin Clark. She could have squashed all kinds of things right here. It's a perfect opportunity. Did she do it? No. And you will never convince me.
Before we go any further, do me a quick favor. Hit subscribe and stay with us until the end, because this story only gets more revealing the deeper we go. Now, go back and watch that clip one more time. Angel Reese spends nearly half a minute publicly applauding her USA basketball teammates, calling them out individually. Chelsea Gray's ball control, Leah Boston's dominance on the block, clear names, clear skills, genuine praise. But there's a glaring absence in that. Run down one teammate who never gets mentioned at all. And once you realize who else shared that roster, that silence stops feeling accidental and starts feeling deliberate.
Clark played in 13 games. In those 13 games, there were literally like what? 3 or 4 kind of incidents and 2 major incidents, including the Angel Reese, Caitlin Clark kerfluffle. Well, I hadn't used that word in a while. In which, of course, the major story coming out of that was Indiana Fever fans called Angel Reese racist something, which launched a massive investigation. Should be noted, Indiana Fever did not defend its fans there.
Understand why this matters? You have to rewind to last season. On June 16th, 2024, during a matchup between the Chicago Sky and the Indiana Fever, something happened that immediately escalated into a league-wide controversy. Angel Reese and members of her team alleged that Fever fans directed racist chants toward her during the game. The accusation was serious, and the league treated it that way. Indiana launched a full investigation. Audio was reviewed. Video footage was analyzed. Witnesses were interviewed. Everything was examined. The conclusion? No evidence. None at all. What investigators actually discovered was a sound effect played over the arena speakers, a widely used YouTube audio clip that's common across arenas throughout the league. It wasn't racist fans. It wasn't targeted harassment. It was a misinterpreted sound effect. But here's where things get complicated. The very next day, Angel Reese had an opportunity to address what happened.
During that whole situation, I believe it was the next day or the day after, Angel Reese was interviewed after practice. She had an opportunity to squash the narrative right there. I never heard anything that I would construe as being racist from those Indiana Fever fans, blah, blah, blah. She did not do that. She played along with it. Let's be real. She went along with that narrative. In fact, she was like, yeah, I feel good about the fact that they're doing an investigation. All the while knowing nothing happened.
That interview took place roughly 48 hours after the alleged incident. By then, the investigation was already in motion. Angel Reese was fully aware of that, and at that moment, she had a choice. She could have clarified that she never personally heard racist remarks. She could have acknowledged a misunderstanding. She could have explained that Fever fans weren't the problem. Instead, she leaned into the accusation. She publicly expressed approval that an investigation was underway. She reinforced the narrative without waiting for facts. And when the investigation later concluded with 0 findings, there was no correction, no follow-up. No statement acknowledging that fans had been unfairly labeled. The Indiana Fever organization chose not to escalate the issue further, which created controversy of its own. But Angel Reese had the platform, she had the spotlight, she had the opportunity to clear the record, and she didn't take it.
Well, there was another opportunity. Of course, a lot of us believes Angel Reese doesn't care for Caitlin Clark too much. We've heard a lot of things. I did a video, we found out a while back that Angel Reese really didn't care for Caitlin Clark, because anytime anybody brought up, the success of the league, Caitlin was always brought up, even if Angel was brought up. And that grinded her gears. Cry us a river. So, Angel Reese has come out and spoke about her time playing for USA Basketball.
Now we have to address the uncomfortable reality no one wants to say out loud. Multiple sources close to the Chicago Sky suggest that Angel Reese carries real resentment toward Caitlin Clark. Not healthy competition, not professional rivalry, personal frustration, and the reason is simple. Every time Angel Reese achieves something noteworthy, big numbers, standout performances, headlines, the conversation inevitably shifts. Caitlin Clark's name comes up, comparisons follow, attention redirects. According to people familiar with Angel's mindset, that pattern is deeply aggravating for her, which brings us back to that USA Basketball interview. This wasn't a casual clip caught off guard. This was an official USA Basketball media release. Angel knew it would be published. She knew fans would dissect it, and she made a conscious decision about who she would and would not acknowledge by name.
Oh, on video, there were a couple of times they were absolutely on the court together. She had an opportunity to squash narratives out there, to try to do the bygones be bygones, let's all move forward, blah, blah, blah. And she didn't even have to say all that. She could have just said, oh man, being able to play with Caitlin, Paige, Chelsea. If you want to bring up Chelsea, that's fine. There's one point guard in the league, and it's not her.
Let's break down the roster itself. Angel Reese shared the floor with Caitlin Clark, Paige Borers, Chelsea Gray, and Leah Boston, among others. During that interview, she chose to highlight Chelsea Gray and Leah Boston specifically. She praised Chelsea's handle, talked about staying alert for no-look passes. She complimented Leah's footwork and strength in the post. All fair. All deserved, but Caitlin Clark is widely viewed as the best point guard in women's basketball today. Her vision, her passing precision, her ability to elevate teammates. Angel Reese is a forward who thrives on rebounding and second chance points. Playing alongside an elite passer like Caitlin should have been a perfect fit for her game, yet when given the chance, even briefly, to acknowledge that dynamic, she said nothing.
I mean, are we doing this again? Is that what we're doing? We're going to go through this yet again? I mean, I had to make a video yesterday because we got Sue Bird and Katie Nolan drudging up crap that was an issue in June of 2024. And here we are, about to be 2026. We're still doing this crap. We're still doing the hate thing. And I'm not hating on Angel Reese. I'm just saying she fumbled a huge opportunity here to squash a bunch of drama, a bunch of narratives, all this kind of thing. And she didn't do it. Just like she didn't seize the opportunity to jump out there and say, I never heard Indiana Fever fans making any kind of noises, and I don't believe they're racist. She passed on that opportunity too.
Now consider the timing. We're heading toward 2026. The Caitlin Clark effect on the WNBA is no longer debatable. In just 13 games during the 2024 season, TV ratings surged whenever she played. Attendance records fell, visibility exploded, revenue climbed, yes, controversy followed. Physical play, officiating debates, divisive media narratives. But this interview moment was a chance to reset, a simple acknowledgement, a neutral statement about team chemistry, a signal that whatever happened during the season stayed. On the court, she didn't take that opportunity. And anyone paying attention knows that silence carried intent. If you're still with me here, drop a like, because this next part explains where the league is heading.
I mean, I've said this is 2026 is going to be the same things we've been seeing in 2024, in 13 games of 2025. I mean, so let's see, she would have played in another, let's just say roughly 35 games. What would we have seen? Another 5 or 6 or 7 fiascos go down? Because that was what we would have averaged enough where there would have been like 10 issues, 10 incidents if she'd have played all season. I'm talking about Caitlin. Unbelievable. And you know they really gonna get mad when she comes back and she's hitting threes in faces again. Tell me what you think.
What this really shows is the direction the WNBA is moving into 2026. and beyond. The league just experienced its most visible season ever, driven largely by one player's impact. Caitlin Clark played only 13 games before a wrist injury ended her season in September. In those 13 games alone, there were roughly 4 major controversies tied to physical play, media framing, or fan behavior. Stretch that across a full 40-game season, and you're looking at a dozen potential flashpoints dominating headlines instead. Of basketball, the league faces a crossroads. Either players and media figures move past old grievances and center the game itself, or this cycle continues. Every hard foul becomes symbolic, every interview reopens old wounds. Every USA basketball appearance becomes a platform for subtle messaging through omission. Angel Reese's silence showed which path she's on, and when Caitlin Clark returns next season, healthy, confident, drilling deep threes and drawing national attention, the same dynamics will resurface unless something changes. The resentment hasn't disappeared, it's just waiting. This wasn't just a missed moment for Angel Reese, it was a preview, a warning. The league's biggest star is walking back into an environment where certain players and voices have already decided not to give her credit, not to acknowledge her influence, and not to move forward. That's how toxic cycles repeat. The real question isn't whether Angel Reese should have said Caitlin Clark's name. It's whether anyone in the WNBA ecosystem is willing to put the league's growth above personal feelings. Right now, the evidence says no. Old controversies are still being recycled. Silence is still being used as a statement. Fans are still divided into camps arguing narratives instead of celebrating the game. If this pattern holds, the 2026 season will bring more drama, more distractions, and more missed opportunities. So here's the final question. When Caitlin Clark comes back and the numbers spike again, will the league finally unite around basketball, or will we see the same conflicts play out all over again? Based on what we've seen, don't count on change just yet. Let me know what you think in the comments. Was that omission intentional, or am I reading too much into a 30-second clip? And if you want more deep breakdowns like this, subscribe now, because the next chapter of this story is already unfolding.